Do you know what's happening in Israel today?
A little bit, yes.
Do you know what's happening in Israel today?
I have no idea.
You guys know what's happening in Israel today?
Yeah?
What's happening?
Yeah, so there were like all of the 4 dead hostages being returned.
Right.
Yeah, and the 84-year-old.
Right. So today there was 3 bodies that were released out of Gaza. There's a woman or 2 children that were murdered by Hamas. Were you familiar with that?
No, I have no idea. No.
Okay. You understand the context of the war that's going on right now?
No, not really.
Okay.
I don't really look into that stuff.
Okay, so today there's a woman named Shiri Bibas, her 2 children, and it's their bodies who are being returned to Israel from Gaza. They were thought to have been alive. There's been a psychological mind game played by Hamas for the last 16 months.
Correct.
They're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did hear about that.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm disgusted about it. It's not it's wrong. There's nothing right about it. You can't play games with people's lives and use them as bargaining chips for a bigger picture. It's not right.
What are your reactions to that?
Deep sadness. It shouldn't be like this.
Tell me about your initial response to hearing that kind of thing.
I think that's horrible. Obviously, the families deserve a bit of closure and laying them to rest.
It's tough. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking what's going on. Like, I haven't heard about the whole thing. I've heard about the name, but when I read about it, it's just hard to make sure what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
But that's, really heartbreaking.
Pretty sad, disappointing.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
You haven't heard about that?
I have heard that a baby's body would be returned, and that's just heartbreaking.
Do you think that there's any justification whatsoever for murdering a woman and her children?
No, I don't think it doesn't matter who they are or if they're horrible, but I think justifying something so cruel like that, like there's no justification for killing a woman and her baby. What does a baby have to do with any of this?
Do you think that there's anything that Israel's done or Jewish people have done in the last 16 months that would necessitate or justify what's happening here?
I feel like for both sides, I mean, they do some wrongs and do some right things too.
Do you think that the murder of that woman and her children is justified in any way?
Oh, no. Murder is not, no. Especially for her child and for her, no, sir.
Hamas is not the Palestinians. So I don't think anything they're doing is justifiable by any means, but I think there's a lot to be said on the other side. That's really all I can say.
I saw some clips of the parade that they had in Gaza. They had a big crowd. They were like cheering on with music, and it was like very disheartening to see what they were showing to the kids as well. A large portion of the people there were like being happy over it when they were just seeing like caskets being carried over to the Red Cross trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was pretty sad to see.
Do you think that the cheering for the murder of Israelis and for the murder of the women and this woman and her babies, do you think that's okay?
God, no. No, you should never celebrate murder or, like, heinous death ever. No, that's wrong.
Would you be shocked to know that there are people who are celebrating that today?
That's pretty shocking, I'm not gonna lie.
At the end of the day, those, especially the children, the women, they were completely innocent. They're not the ones bombing Palestine, the Gaza Strip or anything. They're just trying to go through their daily lives. So when you see the cheering of the death of innocents, it kind of brings me back to like what we were seeing in World War II, where people were celebrating the death of the Jews.
I don't know. I feel like I should be more educated to speak more about it than I want to, because I do want to speak about it because it is a serious issue, but I don't want to say something without, not knowing the full story. But yeah, it's definitely a lot that's happening, and it's heartbreaking to hear like what families are going through, and then to live our lives here just like normally, while others are suffering. And it's really hard.
Let's just say we're on campus. Let's just say you're on campus today and you hear another student or someone say, "I'm okay with it because ... Is there any end to that sentence where you might agree with that person?
Probably not. I think murder in general, especially if somebody didn't do anything, I don't think there should be any advocation for that.
If someone said, well, Israelis are murderers and they're genocidal, and so I'm okay with it, what would you say to that?
I wouldn't agree with it. I would say that's all right.
Do you know what the motivation of the murderers is?
No, I don't.
They hate Israel. Bottom line, they hate Israel. What do you think of that?
It's pretty messed up.
They would accuse Israelis of being genocidal and murderous and trying to take their land. Do you think that's a good justification?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because it's just, you can't judge people on not factual-based information, I guess.
So it sounds to you like these folks don't have the right facts.
Yeah. But that's what I think.
If someone said, I'm okay with that, or I'm glad about the death of that woman and her children because ... Is there anything that would fill in that ... that would make you feel okay with their deaths?
Not really, because I believe that like everybody has like pretty much everybody has a purpose in life, and there's not really a reason for you to take that life.
Personally, you look at what's happening in Israel, you look at what's happening to Jewish people. What would you want to say if there were a Jewish person watching this right now?
First off, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. None of this is right. None of it, ever. And nobody deserves to have this type of displacement and this type of suffering perpetual. I wish I knew the answers, I wish I could be a savior, but no, just no, I'm sorry, because, if there is one, there already is one. But yet here we are,